A very good evening to everyone. At the outset, I would like to welcome all the participants, trainees for this international training program on recent advances in nutritional management of dairy cows in changing paradigm. So at the outset, I would like to warm welcome to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, the Chief Patron of this program, and Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Vishnu Sharma, sir, who is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rajasthan Veterinary and Animal Science University, Bikaner, the Dean, sir, Professor Somkuar, sir, Directors of the Research, Dr. Kurkure, sir, Director of Extension, Dr. Aher, sir, all the Associate Deans, sir, faculty members, industry personnel, guest speakers, students, and everyone who have joined here for this international online training program. So, this training program has been organized by Postgraduate Institute of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Akola, which is a constituent college of Maharashtra Animal and Fishery Sciences University, Nagpur, Maharashtra. So on behalf of organizing team, organizing committee, I again welcome you all for this program. So, and I would like to hand over this session to our chairman of organizing committee, Professor Ayub Bikane, sir, Associate Dean of PGIVAS Akola, for his introductory remark, please. Dr. Bikane, sir, please.
Thank you, Praveen. Chief guest of inaugural session of today's international online training program, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rajasthan Veterinary University, Professor Vishnu Sharma, sir. Guest of honors and dear participants. At the outset, I welcome you all, and I'm very glad to inform you that under the umbrella of Maharashtra Animal and Fishery Sciences University, Nagpur, the Postgraduate Institute of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Akola, has organized 3-day international online training program on recent advances in the nutritional management of dairy cows in a changing paradigm. I'm very happy to share that PGIVAS Akola has organized several online activities like international webinar on LSD, which was attended by more than 1,400 participants from 7 countries. On eve of World Rabies Day, international seminar on rabies, which was attended by more than 700 participants. The college has also organized a number of activities, state-level seminars and webinars, and training programs for the farmers. So in view of COVID, so we are organizing such type of the programs. And next week also, the institute is going to arrange a unique type of a national online clinical case conference for the students, PG students, UG students, as well as PhD students. So this institute is a PG institute engaged in the PG teaching as well as research and organizing the extension activities. So as a part of this, we have organized this training program under the able guidance of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. A.M. Paturkar, sir. In this program, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rajwas, Dr. Vishnu Sharma, sir, is participating as a chief guest. On behalf of MAPSU as well as PGIVAS, I heartily welcome Dr. Vishnu Sharma, sir, who is a renowned animal nutritionist as well as an able administrator. I also welcome the university officers, DIA and Dean, Dr. A.P. Somkur sir, Director of Research, Dr. Yanmi Kurkure sir, and Director of Extension, Dr. Vilas Aheja sir, for their gracious presence, for their encouragement. I also welcome and thankful to the renowned speakers of this training program. Dr. Dinesh Bhosale, one of the excellent speaker and a renowned nutritionist, practical and field-oriented nutritionist. Dr. Tilak Dhiman from USA, Dr. M.S. Mahesh, Dr. Dayaram Suryavanshi, who is a renowned pathologist, Dr. Pandurang Netke, who is going to speak on reproduction. He's from Australia, Dr. Santosh Shinde from Alembic Pharma. And I'm also going to talk on metabolic disorders. So I welcome and I thank all these speakers for participation in this webinar training program. I also welcome the more than 117 participants who have registered for this training program. The trainees, I'm very glad to share that 101 trainees from almost all the states of India, they are participating. And apart from this, 16 trainees from 8 countries, they are participating, namely United States, Canada, Pakistan, Nepal, Malaysia, Oman, and Bangladesh. So once again, I welcome the chief guest, guest of honors, and all the participants. In brief, I will also introduce, I would like to introduce today's chief guest, Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir. Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir is presently a Vice Chancellor of Rajuas Bikaner. He has also worked as the Vice Chancellor of Rajasthan Agriculture University and Jai Narayan Vyas University, Jodhpur. He has having expertise in the nutrition, completed his doctorate degree in the nutrition. He has completed a diploma course in animal feed training program from Netherlands. He has published 6 books and several other publications. He has visited several countries as a member of Indian delegation. He has 22 years of vast teaching experience in India as well as abroad. He has worked as assistant professor in Ethiopia. He has several distinctions and awards. He is a fellow of Animal Society of India. He is a fellow of Indian Society. He has been awarded with fellowship of Indian Society of Animal Production. He has also been awarded with fellowship of National Academy of Veterinary Sciences. He is honorary consultant, advisor, and member of several state level and national level committees. So really, we are very lucky to have Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir as the chief guest of inaugural function of this international training program. I thank Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir for accepting our invitation and for his gracious presence at the inaugural function of this 3-day training program. Once again, I thank all the participants. I welcome all the participants and the dignitaries. And I congratulate my colleagues, Dr. Deshpande, Dr. Bankar, Dr. Ingavale, for organizing this event. Thank you and all the best. I hope that there will be good interaction during this training program, and all the participants, they will enjoy this training program. Thank you once again. Thank you, Bankar.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Honorable Director of Instruction and Dean of MAPSU Nagpur, Professor Somkur sir, to offer his opening address to the trainees. Please. Over to you, sir.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Bankar. In fact, Honorable Vice Chancellor MAPSU, Professor Colonel Dr. A.M. Paturkar, He was expected to be here, but unfortunately, because of some engagements and on time some schedule, he could not attend this meeting, and therefore, actually, on his behalf, just I will say few words for this training program. This international online training program, this is on recent advances in nutritional management of dairy cows in changing paradigm. Really, this topic is a very nice what we feel, and after going through this lecture which are going to be delivered by eminent scientists, it is a need of the day. And for this webinar we are having chief guest Professor Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Rajuvas Bikaner. On behalf of MAPSU Nagpur, I welcome you sir. I welcome you. Apart from honorable chief guest, we are having university officials and from the PGIVAS Akola, that is organizing postgraduate institute, chairman of this committee, Professor Dr. A.U. Bikane, also Dean PGIVAS Akola, course coordinator Deshpande, Dr. Deshpande, course co-coordinators Dr. Bankar, Ingole, Dob, and other organizing team. First of all, I would like to say keep it up team, because since last few days, rather than I will say few months, you are organizing webinar one after another, and the topics which are selected, they are as per the need of the day, and therefore I would like to congratulate from MAPSU side to all the team under able guidance of Dr. A.U. Bikane. Here the feeding of the dairy cows, I won't say anything because we are having the masters and we can say the stalwarts here, but I find, and therefore without saying anything on the nutrition, just I would like to say that for the participants, this is a great opportunity that all the stalwart in the nutrition, they will be delivering the lectures. And after this lecture, what I expect that there shall be a fruitful discussion, and it should come to the conclusion that the farmers ultimate end user, or we can say the beneficiaries, farmers through scientists, they should get benefited so that the production, animal production or reproduction, it should be increased so that our poor farmer, they should be benefited by increasing the production and financial support to them. Similarly, those scientists who are working over here in scientific community also, they can find some leads to carry forward the advances in this nutritional aspect, so that as per the need in future, in, in future they can find some lead so that they can work on this, and of course they should find some lead, they can have some discussion so that in future what your need is there. As we know that there is always a need for the nutrition, as it depends on 70% cost is there for the production of the meal, means majority of the cost it goes for the nutrition, and if we could take care in that part, then that will be the beneficial. And day by day again, the science which was in our days regarding nutrition, it has grown a lot, and now it has come to the genetic level also. But we find through reading through the means sometimes some articles and all these things, so these are the days that we can see for the best nutrition of the animals, or we can say here dairy cattle. So here just I declare that yes, this seminar, this online training program would be very much successful. I wish them the best of luck, and they should come with some conclusions so that they will be carried forward in future also. Lastly, I would like to say participant that they must take benefit of this webinar and do something much better in the nutrition aspect. Lastly, once again, I would like to say thanks to the organizer for giving me an opportunity for this webinar to, via this media, I could talk to you. And lastly, just by saying the word that these 3 days. These 3 days will be much more beneficial, and I appeal all the participants, they must take benefit, they must attend all the webinars so that they will be benefited. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your encouraging words and blessings for our program. I would like to share here, we have also Mr. Karunanidhi sir, who is the Senior Vice President of Alembic Pharmaceutical Limited, who is a knowledge partner for this program, for this conduction of this international online training program. I would like to welcome on behalf of training program, on behalf of organizing committee, to Mr. Karunanidhi sir also. Sir, please welcome. Also, I would like to communicate all the trainees and all the dignitaries that the technical manuscript of the lectures by the eminent speaker, which have scheduled in this training program, they have been compiled, documented by the organizer for trainees in form of a training manual. So I hope it would be a food for thought to the trainees also. And therefore, on behalf of organizing team, I would like to request our chief guest, Honorable Sharma sir, to release the training manual at this online platform, and please declare that the training manual is released. I will show the e-copy of training manual. So I would like to request chief guest to kindly declare that the training manual is released.
Okay, the training manual is released for the benefit of the trainees and the fraternity.
Thank you, sir. So thank you very much, sir. This training manual will be shared as e-copy to the all trainees. Now I would like to request our honorable chief guest of this program, Professor Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Rajasthan Veterinary and Animal Science University, Bikaner, to address the trainee participants. Over to you, sir, please.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I thank MAPSU, Professor Colonel Dr. A.M. Parturkar. He is busy somewhere. All Dean Directors, Professor Somkowar, Professor Kurkure, Professor V.D. Aher, and Professor Dr. A.U. Bikane, who contacted me and interacted with me to remain present in the conference. I am thankful to you all that you have given me opportunity to interact. This is a webinar era, I could say, and usually I don't leave any chance if I can interact with anybody. Yesterday only there was some webinar with Junagadh Agriculture University. They were hosting a webinar and I have already invited the chief guest, and it was around 10 days back. I said, okay, but yesterday I have to move to Jaipur for some high level meeting. And I joined the webinar in the midway at a hotel with my mobile. So work is done. And I'm happy. I was happy to share my views and have some of the knowledge in that way. So it's a good way that we are interacting. And for that, I am thankful to MAPSU. They have given me opportunity. One thing. The second is that the animal nutrition is my soul, because I am animal nutritionist, and I don't leave any opportunity where I can meet my nutrition fellow, I can interact with my nutrition fellow, I can learn some new things from the new generation. My friend Dr. Bhosale, I saw here, and many other nutritionists who are joining this international webinar. The topic I was just looking at, recent advances in nutritional management of dairy cows in changing paradigm. The keyword is the changing paradigm. Nutritional advances we are discussing, we are reading, we are learning, we are practicing. But we have to particularly focus in 3 days in changing paradigm. So what paradigm has changed? We have to just throw our mind for that particular thought that what paradigms are changing and what are expected to change in near future, in which how the nutrition and the nutritional science will move, what shall be the flow of the nutrition in the changing paradigm. Dear friends, nutrition as a science, you all know, is providing a great support for the food security. It's a traditional age-old business we are doing. We are feeding the animal. Animal is giving us the milk, meat, egg, and other social security factors. So we are doing it. But now, with the changing paradigm, the society, the human society is more concerned about the safety aspect, about the genetic aspect, about the industry or the enterprise aspect, the startup aspect, about the new tools in the clinician who is sitting in the hospitals. Those are the changing paradigm towards for which the society is looking towards the veterinary scientists, and the veterinary science is looking towards the animal nutritionists. They have to come up with the cocktail of the solutions, cocktail of the formulations, which we can apply in the changing paradigm. So, not going much in detail, I will just speak some of the things. Food safety. How the animal feed is related to the food safety. We should think about that. The COVID-19 situation has just shaped the society, and everybody is sensitized to get the more immunity and more potency from the available food. And definitely the animal protein is going to be one of the important source to provide the immunity. Then there is going to be more pressure on the animal protein resources. Then animal protein resources, for animal protein resources, as Dr. Somkumar told, that the nutrition is playing around 70% to 80% of the role. So that is the one thing. Then the how we are going to ensure the food safety through the safe animal feed. There is very less sensitization for the animal feed safety aspects. The animal feed has a clear-cut evidences, clear-cut findings to cause the zoonotic diseases through a mechanism, through the man mechanism, through the machinery or other vehicles which are leading to the food. So the animal feed is one of the source contributing to the zoonotic aspect. Not contributing is not exact word, but causing the zoonotic diseases. So we have to see regarding animal feed safety aspect. Then the clinical animal nutrition. That is also going to be one important branch of the animal nutrition. How the knowledge of the animal nutrition can be synthesized into the prescription of a veterinarian into the hospital. That we have to look at. That a veterinarian who has taken advantage of the being postgraduate in animal nutrition or not being postgraduate, even he has read animal nutrition in the BVSc NDS, but how that animal nutrition knowledge can be, because the veterinary officer is the key messenger for the society. So what message and the what capacity and what skill and the what knowledge we can provide our budding veterinarian. So while he or she is sitting in the hospital, they can prescribe something on the basis of the animal nutrition knowledge. It's not necessarily that they have to prescribe the nutraceutical, that anybody can do. But the principles of animal feeding or animal nutrition, how they can investigate with the farmer, and on that basis they can provide some of the dietary recommendations through the prescription or other than the prescription. We have to look into that. We have to put those things into the curriculum. We have to put those things into the practice. And in the time to come, we will recommend to the VCI also to put the animal nutrition students also actively for the clinic so that they can link with the clinical animal nutrition aspect. That is another aspect we have to see apart from the food safety, apart from the food security. Then industrialization. Animal nutrition is such a wonderful branch that it has so many dimensions and ramifications that we have to work hard for that. Industrialization, enterprise, entrepreneurship development. There is a lot of opportunities, not only for the farming community, but for the industry, for the entrepreneurships. entrepreneurial aspects. We have to provide some of the good solutions for the industry. At the same time, we have to provide some of the good schedule, modules for the entrepreneurs also. Entrepreneurs at the small scale, entrepreneurs at the medium scale, or the large scale industry. The animal nutrition, animal feed technology aspects has to go much ahead, and they have to realize, they have to develop, they have to modify, they require to refine for the small and medium scale enterprises. Maybe he or she may be veterinarian, he or she may not be veterinarian, but at least we can prepare our youth for taking this technology or skill advance for the society. Then new aspects of the designer animal feed. The society is in changing paradigm. There is a requirement. If I have a disease, I need a milk which is having so much amount of the omega-3 fatty acid, or so much amount of the unsaturated fatty acid, or so much amount of the vitamin D, or something like else, anything. So how that milk or egg or meat will be stuffed with those nutrients is in only and only in the hands of the animal nutritionists. So that is going to be the nutrition science in the changing paradigm. That how we feed our animal so that that nutrient which we are feeding to our animal or livestock lead into the food, and that food will be utilized, will be consumed by the human, not only for the nutrition purpose, but even for the therapeutic purpose or the preventive aspects of it. So that is the changing paradigm we have to look into. And those are the theoretical guidelines, and some of the practical work has been taken place in some part of the world, definitely. But we have to see the work in our Indian conditions. We have to see that what is our ecology, what is our climate, what is our socio-economic status, what is the perception of the society towards us or towards our science, and then we have to move slowly, gradually, but firmly. Already we have passed so many times, but at the ground level, the situation is different. We have so much of the potential, this science is having so much of the potential. Why don't we are able to realize it in the hospitals, in the industries, in the entrepreneurship, in the for designing or delivering the immunity, for enhancing the nutritional security? Those are the aspects which we have to see, that how we can develop at individual level, at a small group level, definitely at the larger institutions, larger societies, and in the policies they are appearing nowadays. But now we need to formalize them in the changing paradigm. We have to formalize in a way that an individual veterinary student or an individual youth can take those skills, can adapt those skills, can have benefit from those skills, and then deliver to the society. That is the message from my side to all young professionals, veterinarians, animal scientists. It's the COVID-19 situation has come, and it's totally unfortunate, but the society, the mindset of the society is going to change. The society is definitely looking for two aspects mainly: how to ensure the better immunity, and how to go for such of the works, jobs, which may not lose during such type of situations. And in that, the animal nutrition fits in. The science is having full potential for the entrepreneurship development. At the same time, the science is having full potential for providing the good immunity to the human society. We hope that we will fulfill those responsibilities in coming time and in changing dimensions and in changing paradigm. And my advice to all budding veterinarians, that time is The coming time is very good for the veterinary profession. Be positive, always look towards the better avenues. Keep your eyes open, look globally, see the different sites internationally, look what are the sustainable development goals are telling, and what are the cue we can take from the for the animal nutrition from the sustainable development goals, but left in the millennium development goals which can be taken in sustainable development goals, and what are the different developments going in the different part of the world, how we can apply them in our local conditions. Thank you very much once again, one and all. And again, thank you. And I wish that this 3-day conference and this webinar will go very nice way and will come up with the nice recommendations and try to stick to those recommendations to follow and monitor whether the various authorities are paying attention to those recommendations or no. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Good luck.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of organizing committee and our university, I extend my sincere thanks. Before starting our first guest lecture by Dr. Dinesh Bhosale, sir, I would like to request Dr. Deshpande, sir, the course coordinator, to express the vote of thanks of this inaugural program, please. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bankar sir. Good evening to all. This is Dr. K.Y. Deshpande, course coordinator of this international online training program on recent advances in nutritional management of dairy cows in changing paradigm. With the auspicious ceremony of release of training manual at the hands of Honorable Vice Chancellor Rajuvas Bikaner, Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir, this training course is officially declared as resumed. I thank from the bottom of my heart to the Honorable Vice Chancellor MAPSU Nagpur, Professor Colonel Dr. M. Paturkar sir, for permitting us to organize this international training program in the benefit of technical stakeholders engaged in the dairy development in India as well as in the abroad. Under his patronage, we are confident of successful conduct of this event. I wholeheartedly offer my profound sense of gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor Rajuvas Bikaner, Rajasthan, Professor Dr. Vishnu Sharma sir, who despite of his busy schedule, accepted our earnest request to become the chief guest for today's function. Sir, we are blessed with your words of wisdom and the ways you have told the importance of animal nutrition sectors to for the upliftment of farmers as well as for the entrepreneurship development. I again thank you for being with us and guiding us during this inaugural function. Thank you, sir. I take this opportunity to thank respected Director Instruction and Dean Faculty of Veterinary Sciences, MAPSU Nagpur, to Professor Dr. A.P. Somkuar sir for permitting us to conduct this program, which is very much needed for training and encouraging us throughout this organization of this program. And thank you for your kind words, sir. We'll assure you that we'll make this event successful. Thank you, sir. I thank the other guest of honors for today's function, respected Professor Dr. N.V. Kurkure sir, Director Research, MAPSU Nagpur, and respected Professor Dr. V.D. Aher sir, Director Extension and Training, for their benign presence as well as guidance during this inaugural session. Thank you, sir. I am really thankful to all the associate deans of various contingent colleges of MAPSU Nagpur, Dr. A.S. Ranade sir, Dr. S.B. Kavitkar sir, Dr. N.M. Markande sir, Dr. M.V. Dhumal sir, Dr. R.R. Mugre sir, and Dr. A.D. Deshmukh sir, and Dr. Shirish Upadhyay sir, Director Wildlife Center, for being present here and gracing this occasion. Thank you, sir. The words fall short to thank our beloved Associate Dean, Professor Dr. A.U. Bhikane sir, for serving us as a constant source of inspiration right from the first day of declaration of this program till today. Under his dynamic leadership and able guidance. It is always a pleasure for working with a free hand. I thank you from my bottom of my heart, sir. Thank you. The organizing committee is also thankful to Dr. Kulkarni and Dr. Shinde for their tireless support and for making this event happen without any troubles. I also thank our eminent speakers for this function, Dr. Bhosale sir, Dr. Dhiman sir, Dr. Suryavanshi sir, Dr. Mahesh, Dr. Netke sir, and Dr. Shinde sir for being present for the inaugural function. With the deepest sense of gratitude, I want to thank the knowledge partner, Dr. Karunanidhi sir, who also helped us for organizing this program and provided the platform which we are using right now. With the deepest sense of gratitude, I want to thank all the fellow participants for whom all this training has been organized, and I thank them for showing interest in the burning sector, in the burning topic in the dairy sector, and keeping their thirst for the knowledge alive. A special thank is due to my fellow colleagues, Dr. Dhok sir, Dr. Bankar sir, Dr. Ingavle sir, and one of my friend, Dr. P.L. Shinde sir, who is regional manager of Kargil, India, for his help and support for searching correct speakers. At the end, I thank one and all those whose name have been missing unknowingly in this acknowledgement, and I pray God for success of this event. Thank you all, and with this, I declare that this inaugural function has been over. Bankar sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Deshpande sir. So I would like to request all the trainees to be stay connected very soon. Our first speaker, Dr. Dinesh Bhosale sir, is going to present his topic on transition management of cow. So please be connected. I request Dr. Bhosale sir to kindly share his presentation, please.
Dr. Bankar, before sir starts his presentation, I would like to introduce sir with the participants.
Okay, sir, sure.
So, dear participants, it is my great privilege to introduce today's first speaker, Dr. Dinesh Tukaram Bhosale sir, who is BVSc, MVSc, and PhD in animal nutrition. And besides having these all degrees, he is also having diploma in business management. She has been a member of Extension Council as well as Research Council of Maharashtra Animal and Fisheries Sciences University. He has been a member on Skill Advisory Board for Dairying, ASCI, then Bureau of Indian Standards for Animal Feed Committee. He has been the editorial on the editorial board of Journal of Animal Nutrition and Feed Technology, which is the Journal of Animal Nutrition Association of India. Then he has been on the managing of committees of Animal Nutrition Society of India and Animal Nutrition Association of India. He has been the chairman of Compounded Livestock Feed Manufacturers Association of India, CLAFMA, during the period of 2012 to 2014, as well as he has been the Honorable Secretary during 2008 to 2012 for Indian livestock sector. He has organized successfully the second national conference of Association of Avian Health Professionals at Pune in 2014, and he has been actively working in the poultry sector for Poultry Federation of India. He has been the Vice President of West India since 2006. He is also Vice President for Vets in Private Welfare Association, Pune. He has, in his early life, he has worked in Venkateshwar Hatcheries Limited as well as the American Soybean Association, and then he worked in Altec Biotechnology Private Limited as a regional manager for ruminants for South Asia and Southeast Asian region for 2 years. So he's currently working as a regional sales director of South Asia for AB Vista, a British company, since 2007. Apart from this, sir is a personality who is involved in the social life also, and he has been helping various NGOs like Pani Foundation, Swadesh Foundation, and all these foundations which are working for philanthropy. So sir is very much interested in promoting the entrepreneurial activities for youths and self-help groups and women, and also helping the startups. So with all these sort of qualities and exposures, experience, a versatile personality, Dr. Dinesh Bhosale sir is with us, and I request sir to start his presentation. So sir will be delivering lecture rather than giving a PowerPoint presentation. Bhosale sir, please.
How much time I have?
Sir, up to 7:15, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. I will try to finish early because we all are eager to hear Dr. Tilak Dhiman, my senior and very good friend from America. Let me thank organizers for inviting all of us together on this platform. Thank you, Dr. Deshpande and his team for organizing this seminar. Dear friends, what I will do, I have already written write-up. You will get that write-up, and I will also forward a few supporting documents to Dr. Deshpande, and he will share all those documents also with you. Topic given to me is transition cow management, and instead of a PowerPoint presentation, I would like to make powerful points. Basically, I will request Dr. Bhikane that next time please organize this seminar for veterinarians working in Maharashtra, because transition cow management should be taught to veterinarians who are working very closely with dairy farmers of Maharashtra. So therefore now responsibility is yours. The audience who is listening to me, I will request all of you that after this seminar, please transfer this knowledge to dairy farmers you know, and also transfer this knowledge to all veterinary doctors who are your seniors and juniors and who are working in the field. Dear friend, although turnover of dairy sector is 8 lakh crore per year, but only 30% of milk is handled by organized sector. Under Atmanirbhar scheme, this government has given 15,000 crores as an animal husbandry infrastructure fund, which will increase processing capacity from 1200 lakh liters per day to 1700 lakh liters per day. But we will have to teach new concept like transition cow management to our farmers. Whether farmer is having 2 animals, 20 animals, 200 animals, he should learn about the transition cow management. In cricket, century is very important, 100 runs. We are always excited when Sachin Tendulkar was always at 95, 96, 99, and most of the time he used to miss the century. So similarly, in the lactation of cow, 100 days are very important. Which are these 100 days? 60 days before calving and 40 days after calving. If you see the definition of transition period, it is 4 weeks before calving and 4 weeks after calving. But this is a foreign definition. I am working very closely with Indian dairy farmers for last 23 years. So therefore, I have modified the definition. We have to teach farmer about how he should take care of his animal in 60 days before calving. And we should also teach farmer how to take care for 40 days after calving. So for Indian small dairy farmers who are around us in number of millions, we have to educate them about transition cow management for 100 days. Dear friends, what I will do at the start of the lecture, I am sure that everybody is listening very carefully. So instead of keeping all important points for the end of the seminar, I always start with important points at the start of the seminar. So when we dry animal, we give 60 days of rest to udder. So the 1 month, there are 2 months of dry period. So first month of dry period is known as far off stage of lactation, and 1 month just before calving is known as close up period, and 1 month after calving is known as fresh period. So basically I will highlight you what needs to be done in these three important periods. During far off period, first thing, we have to educate farmer how to dry high yielding cows, because low yielding cows or buffaloes, they don't give milk for 305 days after calving. They dry much before 300 days. But in case of high yielding crossbred cows, we have to educate farmer about how to dry the animal. We should educate farmer that he should give only 10 liters of water to animal instead of 50-60 liters per day. That will help for quick dry. We should also educate farmer that he should stop green fodder for 3 to 5 days while drying the animal, because green fodder contains 80% water and it contains only 20% dry matter. So when we restrict green fodder and when we restrict water, drinking water, your cow will dry within 3 to 5 days. And once we dry the cow, we should take good care of that cow for next 2 months. I'm telling you because you are ambassador who will take this information to dairy farmers of India. So after drying the 1 month, that is far off period, you should pay attention towards body condition score. Dear friends, please go to Google and learn about body condition score. The dry matter intake of cow during first month of dry period should not be less than 10 kg. We should give good quality silage or good quality green fodder. We should give good quality dry fodder. So basically, animal should get 70% of dry matter through fodder, and he should get 30% of dry matter through compound cattle feed. Most important thing is that we should pay attention towards cow comfort during far off period, because cow was giving milk for almost 10 months after calving. So we have to give good rest to cow, because the fetus which is growing inside the uterus, it grows 65% in last 3 months of pregnancy. So therefore, if there is a heat stress on cow, we have to think how to reduce the heat stress of the animal. It's very important. We should also pay attention toward the hoof health of animal after drying the animal, because if you are not paying attention towards hoof, it will create a lot of problem like lameness, acidosis and whatnot. And the most important is that we should educate farmer about mastitis prevention program right after calving. And after drying the animal also, farmer should look at mastitis care program. CMT, California mastitis test, is very important and he should do it every month.
Then just before calving, we should, it's called close-up period. So during this close-up period also, we should make sure that cow is getting very good comfort. Dry matter intake of cow during last month of pregnancy should be 10 to 12 kg. And I have seen in Punjab, because most progressive dairy farmers are in Punjab in India, and in Punjab what I have seen, that all farmers, they have put all pregnant animal very near to their home. So instead of putting them in shade, they have made compartment which is near to their home or their guest house, so that when calving happens, it will happen stress free. We should know exact date of calving. That's very important. And we should be in the farm, or the responsible supervisor of the farm should be there at the time of calving. So if help is needed, if there is a dystocia or any problem, then he can immediately call veterinary doctor. Again, heat stress we should avoid, because if there is a heat stress on cow during close-up period, that will also create a lot of problems. We have to pay attention towards balanced feeding during close-up period. I will explain more about this. And after calving, what important things we should do? First thing, we should keep records. Dear friends, if you can take only this one message to our farmers, that he should keep records. Look at poultry farmer. He became crorepati because he is keeping all record. He is doing poultry farming scientifically. Similarly, we have to motivate our dairy farmers, whether small, medium or big, that they should do dairy farming scientifically. They should keep records. Nowadays, very cheap record keeping softwares are available. Example, I am mentor of one startup company called Power Gotha. Their record keeping software is available only for 500 rupees for 1.5 years. And we have to observe cow very closely after calving, because all important diseases, metabolic diseases like milk fever, ketosis, etc., retention of placenta, metritis, all these things will happen after calving. So we have to keep attention on our cow. There should be dedicated worker if number of cows are more. The dry matter intake during fresh period will be around 14 to 16 kg for medium yielding and high yielding animals. Dear friends, educate our farmers how to measure dry matter intake. First thing, he should measure the body weight of the animal. He can take the tailoring tape and he can measure the girth of the animal, and then there are formula. From girth you can arrive at body weight of the animal. So basically dry matter should be 2% of the body weight. So plus dry matter should be 1/3 of milk production. So suppose weight of the cow is 500 gram, 500 kilo. So you have to feed 10 kg dry matter for maintenance, and you should feed, suppose cow is giving 18 liters of milk, so you should feed 1/3, that is 6 kg of dry matter for milk production. So in total we should give 16 kg of dry matter to this cow. So as you can understand, I am talking here about the cow which will give maximum 18 to 20 liters of milk. And most of the crossbred cows in India, they are giving now between 15 to 20 liters of milk, and we have 10% animal which are giving 25 liters to 40 liters of milk, and we have many animals which are giving between 10 to 15 liters of milk. We have to observe cow very closely. If there is any unusual behavior in cow, if there is any anorexic symptom, if cow is not eating properly, please check the body temperature of cow. we have to, again I am saying, heat stress is a big factor. We have to reduce heat stress, because during these months there will be a problem of hot and humid climate in most parts of India, and diet is very important after calving. And to avoid diseases like milk fever, we have to follow calcium program with the help of veterinarians. I thank Alembic for sponsoring this seminar. So there are at least 30 companies in India who are selling ionic calcium. So ionic calcium should be given to cow after calving twice. You should give after calving, and you can repeat after 24 hours. So that will help. Basically, if you see how the nutrient requirement of cow changes in far off, in close up, and in fresh cow period. So I already talked about dry matter. Let's talk about protein. After drying the cow for 1 month, the protein should be 12.5%. 1 month just before the calving, that is close up period, the protein should be 14 to 16%. And after calving, we have to maintain the protein 16 to 17.5%. Neutral detergent fiber is very important. Digestibility of neutral detergent fiber is very important. And I request veterinary college and all people who are listening from academics, please make this service available at your veterinary college. By using Van Soest method, we can measure NDF, ADF, acid detergent lignin. Please check fiber samples. Please check silage sample, green fodder sample, dry fodder, and NDF percentage should be 14% in far off diets. It should be 20% in close up diets. It should be 16% in fresh cow's diet. The sugar is also very important. During close up, we should make sure that 4.5% sugar is available, and just after calving, 5% sugar should be available in the diet. Look at the starch. In far off period, the requirement of the starch is 7%. But during close up period, more than 17% of starch should be present. And after calving, the starch percentage should be more than 23%. So what starch and sugar are giving us? What NDF is giving animal? It will give urja, net energy. So net energy of lactation should be 1.3 to 1.4 megacalorie during far off. It should be 1.5 during close up, and it should be 1.6 during fresh period. We also have to pay attention toward all important vitamins and all important minerals. Vitamin A is very important. Vitamin E is very important. In far off period, I will give you example. Now all important companies, all major feed companies in India, they have started selling transition feed. Whether it's a Godrej, Cargill, Tiwana, Hindustan Feed, Kapila, Dayal, you take any name of the company, even Amul and other milk cooperatives, they have started selling transition feed. So we have to give 3 kg of transition feed after drying the animals. So during the 60 days of dry period, animals should get good quality transition feed. This is very important because calcium percentage will be less in transition period and decay will be more during transition period. I also warn you, protein chara, protein fodder like alfalfa, lucerne grass should not be given to animal during dry period because it is high in potassium. So we should avoid raw material which are high in calcium. We should also avoid raw material which are high in potassium. For For medium yielding cows, for high yielding cows, the wheat straw, rice straw, whatever dry fodder you are giving, kadba, etc., it should not be more than 2 kg per animal per day. If you have silage, give 20 kg of silage during far off period. If you don't have silage, if you have green fodder, give 30 kg of green fodder. So this is very important. When you go to close-up period, you have to increase transition feed to 3.5 kg. And you have to increase silage also to 22 to 23 kg and reduce straw to only 1.5 kg. And whatever feed you are planning to give after calving, you should start that feed at 1 kg per animal per day. If silage is not available, you should give 30 kg of green fodder. And this is very important that we have to make sure that animal will eat this. So TMR, we have to promote total mixed ration in all farming methods, whether animal are tied up in the gotha or there is a loose farming system, we should promote TMR. Farmer can make TMR manually. If the farm is big, if he has 50 animal, 100 animal, 200 animal, he can buy TMR wagon. And after calving, it's very important that if animal has potential to give maximum milk about 20 liters, then for first 4 weeks after calving, you can feed transition feed at 3.5 kg. You have to feed silage 22 kg. If silage is not available, then increase green fodder to 35 kg. Straw should not be more than 1.5 kg. And whatever feed you are giving after calving, it should be around 6 to 7 kg. So you have to challenge your animal. Feed animal at least 3 to 4 times in a day. Very important. And keep pushing feed in front of the animal whenever you go inside the shed. If you are pushing the feed at least 4 times in a day, it means animal feel that she is getting new fresh feed. So at least 8 times she will get the feed in a day, she will eat that. And fermentation, rumen fermentation is very important. As we say in Hindu mythology that crores of God live inside the cow. And scientifically it's true also, because bacteria, protozoa, fungi which are present in rumen, they will digest green fodder, dry fodder and compound cattle feed what we are feeding to our animal. So basically what I will request you that we have to understand what are the benefits of good transition cow management. By spending 1000 to 3000 rupees per cow, farmer can get net benefit of 10,000 rupees or more per cow. First thing is that labor. You have to educate farmer, you have to educate farmer's family, you have to educate labor who are working in the farm about the transition cow management. And many progressive dairy farmers have implemented successful transition feeding program pre-calving, and they have reported dramatic reduction in milk fever, ketosis, fatty liver syndrome. And when retention of placenta is not there, when milk fever is not there, when ketosis is not there, then what happens? You will get a cow will get the maximum peak yield at 40 to 45 days, and then cow will stop losing the body weight, and at third heat or at fourth heat we can again make cow pregnant. So this is very important for fertility also, because micro minerals like zinc, copper, manganese, cobalt, they are very important in fertility. So mixture of inorganic and organic mineral mixture should be given to cow. I have seen that most of the small and medium farmers, once the cow is dry, they neglect the cow. They will stop giving cow compound cattle feed. They will give some cotton seed cake, they will give some groundnut cake, mustard cake, they'll give little bit of wheat bran, little bit of chunnis, and they will also they will never measure the green powder and dry powder what they are giving. I will suggest all of you who are listening to me that please go to National Dairy Development Board website. There is another website inside that website called dairyknowledge.in. Please download important documents from there. There is a document about dairy nutrition. There is a document about ration balancing. There is a document about cow comfort. There is a document about calf rearing. And we have to educate farmer about calf rearing, about transition cow management, because it's not one or other. It's this and that also. Our farmers need to be educated about each and everything. He should know about calf rearing. He should buy calf starter to feed the animal. He should weigh his animals regularly. He should use grower feed and heifer feed. Many times farmer ask me, sir, do I need to follow transition cow management program for heifers also? I say yes. You should also follow transition cow management program for heifers for 2 months before calving. You have to take same care of heifer and always buy cow. If you want to buy new cows, we should suggest farmer that they should buy cow of first and second lactation, because cow will give maximum milk in third and fourth lactation. So at that time it should be at the farmer's place. And as the milk production increases in every lactation, the milk fat and the SNF will go down in each lactation. Milk fat will go down by 0.6% in each lactation, and SNF will go down by 0.3% in each lactation. Dear friends, I will share a very important document with you about the how to help our farmers to design transition cow management programs. First, we have to tell farmer that what benefit he will get by following the transition cow management. Very important. Don't talk technical things, scientific things with farmer immediately. You should challenge him that have you kept record for last lactation? How much money he has earned? Because I will tell you story of Vaman Gaikwad, one progressive dairy farmer of Solapur area in Maharashtra. He has all cows which are giving more than 30 liters of milk at peak yield. So you can multiply 30 liters by 215 if cow is heifer to know how much milk that cow will give in one lactation, or you can multiply 30 liters, that is peak yield, by 245 to get milk yield in lactation for second or third or fourth lactation. So basically what Vaman Gaikwad was telling me that, sir, last year I earned 40,000 rupees per year from this cow. But this year what happened? Due to lockdown, the milk demand went down. The milk procurement prices went down. He was supplying milk to private dairy. Last year he was getting 32 to 33 rupees rate for his cow milk. Now he is getting 19 rupees, 20 rupees. So he is saying that this year, means during last 6 months, from March till September, he has earned only 3,000 rupees. So he is expecting that if things go well, he will be able to earn 10,000 rupees per year from his cow. So therefore, you have to convince farmer about the benefits of improved nutrition, whether it's a during lactation phase, whether it's during transition cow phase, it should be convinced in terms of money. We should motivate farmer to spend 1,000 rupees to 3,000 rupees during the transition cow management. And what are the good approaches for transition feeding? Educate farmer to keep the record keeping. He should know the accurate date of calving. So he knows exactly how many days of dry period will be there. The inter-calving period should not be more than 13 to 14 months. In case of cows, it should not be more than 15 to 16 months in case of buffalo. We should help farmer that he should feed very good quality, low milk favor risk diet. He should educate the people who are working on the farm about what are the diseases happen if we neglect cow during the transition cow management. And we should educate him to keep daily record at least for transition transition phase, that is 4 weeks before calving and 4 weeks after calving. Dear friends, there should be objectives, aims for the effective transition cow management phase. Before calving, he should know that requirement of my cow for energy and protein are going up. He should know that he has to maintain the dry matter intake. He should know that cow's rumen should be prepared to eat more dry matter intake after calving. He should know that during non-lactating phase, during dry period, the calcium requirement is different. And after calving, the calcium requirement is different, because as all of you know that in colostrum, the calcium content is around 2.2 to 2.4 gram calcium per liter of colostrum. And in milk, once the cow starts giving milk, the calcium content in milk is around 1.2 to 1.4 gram per liter of milk. So it depends on how much calcium will be needed to produce the milk. Example, cow is giving 10 liters of milk, then 12 gram of calcium will be needed. If cow is giving 20 liters of milk, 24 gram calcium will be needed. If cow is giving 30 liters of milk, 36 gram calcium will be needed. And we should also know what will be the body condition loss after the calving, because after calving, whatever we are feeding to animal, that is not enough. Cow will remove the body fat from the body. Cow will remove the calcium from the bones to satisfy the requirement of energy, protein and calcium. So therefore, liver will be at full speed of work after calving. And if liver is not healthy, then fatty liver syndrome can happen in case of cow. Therefore, in layman's language, I always explain farmer that when your cow is ready for calving, her ribs should not be visible. It means the body condition score should be 3.5 to 4 at the time of calving, because as soon as calving is done, lot of energy is required for calving. The body condition score will come down by half point. The cow should not be fatty also. We should not make cow fatty also. He should know how to manage post calving transition period. So dear friends, this is very important, and I will also share the chart with you that what is the content of decad of different raw materials which we are feeding to animal. I gave you example of alfalfa, bersim. They all are high in potassium, so we should avoid these things. We should avoid feeding normal mineral mixture before calving, at least during close-up period. We should give low calcium mineral mixture to our animals. Or if you don't have option of low calcium mineral mixture, you can give 50% of regular mineral mixture during close-up period. And we should also avoid giving sodium bicarbonate, because that will also increase the decad value. We should use the there are many rumen buffers. Example, there is a rumen buffer called acid buff, which is a long-acting rumen buffer. We should use live yeast to feed our animals, because our objective is that calving should be stress-free. We should use sex sorted semen. Therefore, we will get female calf. We should get maximum milk in that lactation. We should also make pregnant that animal at third heat or fourth heat. So rebreeding is also our objective. And dear friends, if farm is big, if farm is having more than 25 animal, then veterinary doctor should be present at the time of calving. It's very important. If animal are less, if a farmer is having only 2 to 5 animals, if he can see symptom of dystocia, he should call doctor. So timing is very important. Dear friends, you should inform your doctor that, sir, after 2 days or 3 days, I'm expecting calving of my cow. So please be available. I will give you call anytime. Doctor should be informed in advance. So that's very important. And what are the negative effects of improved transition cow nutrition? I will like to mention that also, because there are side effects. The first and foremost important negative effect will be increased risk of mastitis. So therefore, friends, you have to take good care of your cow after calving. You should avoid mastitis. You should do CMT test and keep testing your cow. It may also reduce the colostrum quality, because cows fed with well formulated transition diet may produce more colostrum, and when the volume will be more, the quality of the per liter may go down, the antibody concentration may go down slightly. But as all of you know that this will be a more problem in developed countries, because in India the cows are low yielding and medium yielding. Our high yielding cows are hardly 10%. The calf birth weight may be higher, and there might be a problem like dystocia. Example, I have seen that in medium yielding cows, in high yielding cows, nowadays farmers in Punjab and in Maharashtra and other states also, progressive farmers, they are using imported semen of ABS, WWS company. They are using sex sorted semen. We recommend that sex sorted semen should be used for heifer, and there might be a calving difficulties in heifer also. So we have to take care. We have to choose semen where there will be less calving difficulties. So this is very important. We should educate farmer to learn the information given on the semen straw. He should make the note of that information. He should go to Google and he should read the information about the bull. He should read the information how much milk the mother has given, and farmer should know what milk to expect from the calf, what I will get. Because by using good quality semen straw, he will not be able to increase the production of the cow, but he can expect higher milk production from the female calf, what he is getting. So this is very important. And I will tell you, friends, rumen fermentation is very important. Please use good quality cattle feed after post calving. I always recommend farmers, whether you are small, big, or large farmer, always buy good quality cattle feed. Don't make cattle feed in your own farm. You will not save a lot of money by making your own feed. And basically, pastures are not available like Australia and New Zealand in our countries. So we have to give good quality silage. We have to give good quality uh, green fodder to our animal. Once farmer adopt good quality transition cow management program, you have to be patient. It will take 2 to 3 years for you to work out how to make your new transition feeding program. best fit for your farm. So dear friends, it takes time to see the result, and pregnancy testing by skilled veterinarian is very important between 5 and 15 week gestation, because that will give you accurate reading. And we have to educate farmer about decad. What is decad? Decad is a difference between the cations like sodium and potassium and anions, chloride and sulfur in the diet. And anionic salts are commonly included in commercial transition feed manufactured by good companies to manage the decad level of the transition diet. So if you're using good quality transition diet, you don't need to worry about the decad in your diet. I will also request all dairy farmers to taste their green fodder, silage, and dry fodder. All these feed companies, they will help you to taste your fodder. Dear friends, dry matter intake is very important, and farmer has to keep note about the dry matter intake. And I can't stress more on dry matter intake, because if cow will not eat, she will not give milk, because milk contains 85% water. Therefore 24-hour good quality drinking water should be available for your cow. And it, I will tell you one thing: metabolic diseases like milk fever, they are just like iceberg. Only 1/3 of iceberg is visible in the ocean, and 2/3 of iceberg is below the water. So for every case of clinical milk fever seen in your farm, there might be 8 or more cases of subclinical milk fever. So therefore call veterinary doctor and carry out calcium program, carry out milk fever ketosis prevention program. What are the risk factors for milk fever? Age. Older cows will have higher risk of milk fever. Breed. Jerseys are more susceptible for milk fever as compared to Holstein Friesian crossbred cows. Body condition. If the body condition score is high, then the milk fever chances are also have. Pre-calving transition diet is very important. Calcium percentage in the diet, it is very important. Time your cows are exposed to transition diet is also important. Therefore, I am asking you to feed transition feed for 60 days before calving and 4 weeks after calving. So there are many things we should talk about. I think I will stop here. We can take few questions in next 8 minutes, so that we can end at 7:15, so that Dr. Tilak Dhiman can take 45 minutes to 1 hour. Dear friends, let me thank again, and I think it is a vast topic, and I will tell you, transition cow management is a very exciting topic, and I will share whatever information I collected while preparing for this lecture. And please read it. Whatever good information you get about transition cow management, please email me, please WhatsApp me. My number is available in my write-up. And this is I might be meeting many audience for the first time, but this is not a last time. Please keep interacting with me. I'll be happy to help you. I'll be happy to help dairy farmers in your area. If there are any questions, Dr. Bankar, Dr. Deshpande, we
Yes,
can
sir.
take.
Yes, sir. We open up the chat box.
Okay, I'll open the chat box. Okay.
Option will be given by the host. Shinde
Actually,
sir.
चैट बॉक्स पहले ही ओपन कर देना चाहिए. जैसे ही लेक्चर चालू होता है, वैसे तुरंत चैट बॉक्स ओपन करने का. तो पीपल कीप पोस्टिंग देयर क्वेश्चंस. So for Dr. Tilak Dhiman, keep chat box open right from the start.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What I will do, Dr. Deshpande, we can stop here. We all are eager to listen to Dr. Dhiman. He is a grand senior and very knowledgeable person.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ayer. Thank you, Dr. Bikane. Thank you, Dr. Somkuvar, Dr. Kurkure. At least we are not meeting in extension council meeting, research council meeting. We are meeting here, and
Thank
you
you.
all are very educated and very learned and very motivated people. I am very happy that so many webinars are happening in MAPSU. It started late, but now all of you have picked up very well. Dr. Bikane, congratulations for
Thank you.
organizing many lecture on lumpy skin disease,
Thank you.
burning
Thank you.
topic. Please organize a lecture on Congo disease also.
Yes, 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 sir. Shortly, very shortly.
So, thank you, sir, for a very vast and knowledgeable lecture. Sir, we have some messages in the chat.
Okay.
Mohammed Shoaib is asking, sir, that, sir, as you told that transition feed have increased risk of mastitis and low quality of colostrum. How can we prevent from these?
No, don't worry too much about it. Basically, what happens in it will be problem only in the high yielding cow and medium yielding cow. And as I said that it takes 2 to 3 years to standardize the transition cow management program for your farm. So that will help you to change the diet. Example, what happens that to improve the quality of the colostrum, what you can do that 1 week before calving, you can reduce the transition feed maybe to 2 kg, and you can increase the regular feed to 2 kg. So that will also help to improve the colostrum quality. What is more important? Feeding of colostrum during first 24 hours to animal is very important. I will tell you, the calf, the life of the calf is divided into two parts: first 24 hour and remaining life. So first 24 hour, if we can give colostrum to calf, the life of the calf will be very good.
Sir, one more question is there: how to prevent milk leakage during dry period?
Basically, what happens that, as I said, in India, the mastitis tubes are not available to seal the teats. So I request companies like Alembic and other companies that they should bring such product which can seal the teats. Otherwise, I have at the initial phase I told you how to dry the animal. So if you can dry animal by my method, because this is not my method. Dr. Devre, who was a senior veterinarian working with BIF, he taught this method to farmers 25 years back. So BIF is promoting this method. So if we can dry animal with that method, there will be no problem of leakage.
Sir, one more question is there, that you have mentioned that 14 to 16% of CP during last month of pregnancy. So can it be given through TMR?
Dear friends, whatever protein content I have mentioned, it is a protein content of TMR only. So
Yes,
I
sir.
will share that data with you. So whatever I talked, everything is written. So I will give it to you, no problem.
One more request is there from participants, that the vitamin requirement for the dairy animals, that data can be shared. So
Okay. Actually, I didn't talk much about vitamin and mineral requirement. The table is given in the information what I will share with you. Actually, what happens that Dairy Australia, I consulted website of Dairy Australia. They are doing very good job in transition cow management. They have published a lot of information. I will share all those PDF in when Dr. Deshpande sent me first program. I had shared that document itself on that day only.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So please go through that document. It is a detailed document. It is a review article on transition cow management. And I request Dr. Mahesh Ingavle, who is working in Akola, very energetic gynecologist. Please write review article on transition cow management in India. Whatever research has been done in India.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's with me only, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay. So, okay, thank you, sir, for a nice session. And the participants have received, and many messages are there, that very informative lecture was there. And whatever the information will be coming from you to me, that will be distributed among the participants, sir, surely. So, I think rather than waiting now. We'll start for Dr. Dhiman sir's lecture. So,
Dhiman sir, namaskar.
are you there, sir?
Okay, thank you very much, all of you. I will take your. I'm listening. I'm here. I will listen to Dr. Tilak Dhiman, but I will put off my video.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before Dhiman sir starts, I would again like to introduce Dr. Tilak Dhiman to all the participants. Dr. Tilak R. Dhiman graduated in 1977 as a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture with a major of Animal Science from Himachal Agriculture University, HAU, Palampur, India. Then in 1979, he completed his Master of Science in Animal Science in Animal Nutrition as a major, and he won the gold medal for that MS degree. In 1991, Dr. Dhiman completed his PhD in Animal Nutrition from National Dairy Research Institute, India, Rai Karnal, and again he won the national award and a medal for his PhD work also. After that, Dr. Dhiman, he started as working as an associate scientist in the Department of Dairy Science, University of Wisconsin, USA, in 1992 to November 1996. After 96 to June 2003, Dr. Dhiman joined as an assistant professor as in dairy nutrition at Utah State University, USA, and after that, he also was working as associate professor in dairy nutrition at the same university from 2003 to 2008. After 2008 to 2014, he was working as a director IES Laboratories, Lake Forest Park in USA. From 2014 onwards till now, he is working as a senior business consultant South Asia for Diamond V Inc. Cedar Rapids at USA. Apart from all this academic background, Dr. Dhiman is a person in whose name there is a patent for methods of increasing conjugated linoleic acid content of cow's milk, and it is registered in US Patent Agency in 1996. So he's a consultant for various firms like American Soybean Association, then US States Environmental Protection Agency, and in that he was working as on a project improving of livestock productivity, reducing methane emission in India since in the time 1997 to 2003. Then he was also consultant for agriculture, cooperative development, international, and volunteers in overseas cooperative assistance at Washington DC from September 2000 to December 2004. So the project was livestock development project in Armenia. He also worked on as a consultant on Windrock International Arlington, USA in July 2002 till July 2003 on an improved feed and dairy management project in India. He was also consultant at Chinese Agriculture Academy and Embrapa Dairy Cattle Research Center at Brazil. So, sir is consultant at various places. Then, apart from his major research projects, the project was animal feeding and feed processing methods to optimize feed utilization with minimum environmental impact. And another project was animal feeding practices to improve nutritional and therapeutic quality of milk and meat. So in his name, there are 44 referred publications, then 2 book chapters, non-referred publication 15, research abstracts 76, and trade magazine publications 8, and 1 patent which we have just discussed. And sir is a very prolific writer also. So rather than making you wait for a long time, sir, I request you to start your presentation, please.
Good.
And before you start, sir, I request participants that During presentation, if any questions are there, chat box is always open. So you can write and these questions, and then after presentation is over, I will ask those questions to sir. Thank you, sir.
Good. I'll share my presentation here.
Yes, sir.
Can you see my presentation, sir?
Yes, it is visible, sir.
Oh, good. Well, first of all, I would like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellors, Head of the Departments, Directors, Deans, eminent doctors, and my good friend, Dr. Dinesh Bhosale, Dr. Deshpande, to give me an opportunity to share some of my knowledge that I have with you all. I think we had a long introduction, so people know I belong to Himachal Pradesh in India. With that, I think I'm going to go straight to my presentation, keeping the time in mind. The topic that I have is managing milk components on a dairy farm. And this picture is from the valley where we live. We have a lush green irrigated pastures. These are Jersey cows, not too far from our house. We live right up at the mountain here. So it's very beautiful here, very beautiful. Okay. Today, we are planning to learn about, first of all, what is milk made of? Then number two, components that can be changed. Number three, what are the factors that can affect the milk components? And lastly, how do we maximize these milk components? So my objective is to give you knowledge about these four topics. If you look at the milk components, the milk has about 87% water and 13% solids. Now I'm talking about dairy milk because these days you have to be very careful. There is the almond milk, rice milk, soya milk. We need to distinguish that this is a real dairy milk. Out of this 13% solids, we have the largest component is 4.9% lactose, which is carbohydrate sugars. Then we have 3.4% fat, 3.3% protein, and about 1.4% minerals and vitamins, and that completes the 13% milk solids. So water is about 6.7 times more than the solids. Okay. Now this is the average composition of the milk. The milk solids and the water content may vary with species. Okay. Why do we care about milk components? Well, we care because we are paid by fat, protein, solid not fat, and somatic cell counts. Maybe in India, we don't use all these criteria, but I'm sure that people in India, we prefer we are paid by the fat content. In some places, we are paid by SNF and the somatic cell count also. And in the future, you will see all these criteria used for calculating the milk price. Number two, we care because if there is a variation in milk components, then when milk goes to the processing plant, and if there is a variation, then the milk plant has to adjust their machineries in order to produce the consistent products. So we want to avoid those variations. Also, if there is a variation in milk components, that can affect the cheese yield and also the milk product yield. Okay, we want to have a consistent milk components. Another point, we care about milk components because some of the components such as fat it affects the consumer taste, then the flavor in the milk, and the perception of the milk products. So it's very important to care about milk components. Lastly, the farm income is dependent on the price that we have paid for the milk. So if the milk has less fat, we will be paid less, and it will affect the profitability of the farm. So these are the points that we care about milk components. This slide I just showing you the composition of human milk, cow milk, and buffalo milk. The reason I'm showing you is that there are some differences in species. For example, in water, in the human milk, we have 88% water, very close in cow, but buffaloes have 81% water. That means more milk solids. And where are those milk solids? You see a higher content of protein, then you see a higher content of carbohydrates, and major difference is milk fat. So buffalo milk has more milk fat. In addition to that, if you look at the calcium content, way higher than cow milk. So the buffalo milk is rich in calcium and phosphorus. Now I remember that when we were young at home, my father specially bought a buffalo. He said that the buffalo milk is good for the children. He didn't know the reason why he did it, but this was the reason, that it's rich in calcium and phosphorus. So especially for children, I think the buffalo milk is good and healthy. Okay. So keep these points in mind. In the future, we can highlight these points. Also, almost half of the milk in India is contributed by buffaloes. So we need to care for these animals. Okay, this slide, I just put it intentionally. I just wanted to show you that how much our farmers are paid for milk on the farm. So it's called as farm gate price of milk. I have calculated as pounds per 100 liter and also in rupees. I guess I just lost my slides. Okay, back. So I have different countries. In India, the milk is about 21 rupees per liter, or in other words, 2100 rupees for 100 liter of milk. This is what our farmers are paid. In the United States, the farmers are paid 25 rupees per liter. New Zealand is even 26, Brazil 22, Argentina 22, China is an exceptional country. So the farm gate price around the world ranges between 21 to 26, and Indian farmers are paid the lowest farm gate price. Okay, so we could say, and these are not the old numbers, these are current numbers for 2020. Okay. In the US, all milk is based on milk fat content, protein, and somatic cell count. So all the quality is considered. So our farmers can get more support to get higher farm gate price compared to the whole world. Not only this, I gathered this data. There's a good news that not only farmers, but even the consumers, the customers in India has the lowest retail price of milk. And I have calculated in US dollars per liter. When you convert into US dollars, the Hong Kong has the most expensive milk per liter, 2.90, followed by Singapore, China. Even Canadians has to pay more retail price for the milk. This is a data for total 93 countries. I have not shown all the countries, but to our surprise, India is number 90 I repeat, 90. The retail price of the milk, combined milk, is 48 rupees and 84 cents in the market. Even in the US, the milk is a little more expensive, 60 rupees and 68 cents. Okay. So in India, the farm gate price is low. Also, the customers, the retail price is also low. Okay. And it's very low when you compare among 93 countries. So we can also support our farmers by paying a little more for the milk. Okay. Now, the next thing is, can you change these milk components? Well, all the research that we have to show, we have milk fat percent, and that milk fat percent you can change by nutritional and non-nutritional factors by about 0.5 percentage units. In protein, no matter how much protein you feed to the cow, you can change maximum 0.1% unit, meaning that if the protein is 3.1, you may be able to change it to 3.2, but not more than that, because genetic component is more for the protein percent. Lactose does not change unless cow is sick and having some problem, then you may see a slight reduction in lactose content, but it is very well regulated in the mammary gland that you have consistent quantity on the content of lactose in the milk. Of course, solid not fat is the sum of the components other than fat. So to answer the question, yes, milk fat can be changed up to 0.5% units through nutritional and non-nutritional factors. Okay. I'm going to go next here. These are mostly Western breeds. And what I wanted to show you is that there's a large variation in these breeds. If you look at the milk fat content, the Jerseys have 5%, Guernseys 5%, but your Holsteins and Brown Swiss 3.6 and 3.8. So the variation is between 5 and 3.6. In protein, there is a less variation, but 3.1 to about 3.2. Okay, why there is a variation here? I think the Holstein cows have been bred for more milk. Same thing with other breeds also, but not as much as we have for the Holstein cows. And more the milk, sometimes it also decreases the milk fat and protein content. So when you make a selection for the breed, you want to make sure that you do consider the milk components. So that's why the milk components are very, very important. Now let's go to our own Indian breeds. I have here Red Sindhi, Grey Gir, my favorite cows, Sahiwal and Tharparkar. The reason I said Sahiwal is that I have visited Sahiwal village in Pakistan and seen these cows and their research station also. They are very wonderful cows. We cannot ignore them. They are very resistant and they also milk good. If you look at the variation here among these breeds, the variation is very small. For fat, we have 4.9 to 4.5. That's it. For protein, 3.3 to 3.4. Very little variation because we have not genetically modified these breeds. We need to protect them and use them for whatever breeding purpose we can. Okay. This is the average composition of milk for different breeds and species. I'm gonna ask this table is a little busy, but I'm gonna ask your attention towards Jersey. highest fat, 4.9 here among cows. Then comes to the buffalo, 6.5. Even look at the yak, is 7.0, high fat. Okay. Protein content, same thing, high protein content here, lactose here. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is when you try to select a breed or a cow, you need to keep in mind if the cow is suitable for your environment. Is she going to give you maximum milk yield, fat content, and does she have any profit impact on the farm? All these things you have to consider. For example, yesterday there was a video posted on WhatsApp, and somebody bought an 800 kilo buffalo, and she was milking 30 kilos milk, and it was really very big celebration. But 800 kilo animals, her maintenance requirement, the feed she's going to eat, yes, she's giving a high milk, but you have to calculate the efficiency of that animal. Okay. Now, how we can change the milk composition? There are some non-nutritional factors and some nutritional factors. Non-nutritional factors, we have a big list here. Okay. And I'm going to go through each of them separately to show how they affect. For example, genetics, breeding, season, stage of lactation, cow's age, and so on. Okay. So in the next few slides, I will discuss each of these ones. Then we have nutritional factors, how we can manipulate the diet to meet the cow's demand, and then improve their milk components and milk yield. Okay, I will also go through each of this in my next few slides. Okay, first, genetics and breeding strategy. If you look at the heritability, that means how traits are genetically controlled or transferred. For milk fat, we have the highest 0.58 heritability index in Holstein cows. In Jerseys, it's 0.55. For protein also, it's high. For milk yield, it's low. So it's going to take a longer time to breed for your milk, but we can do it for fat and protein. And then fat yield and protein will go along with the milk yield. So your selection of genetic trait depends on its profit impact. For example, if somebody is selling their milk for milk fat and he's paid more for milk fat, so you want to develop your breeding strategy that your cows will give more, has more milk fat and total fat yield. Sometimes some people are paid only based on fat percent, so you want to breed accordingly to the fat percent. Okay. How season can affect the milk fat percent. I have this data for 5 years, 2010 to 2014. So each cluster of these bars, they represent the milk fat content for 5 years in the month of January. So on for February, March, and until December. Because these authors, they wanted to see the effect of season. And what this graph tells us is that during the summertime, the milk from the cows have low milk fat content. So if you look at the winter months, they have high fat and even early spring. But in the summer months, when there is a heat stress, cows eat less and they produce less milk fat content. So to conclude from this slide, we can say that during summer months, you can expect low milk fat because of the feed intake. What can you do? Well, improve the feed intake. There are different ways to improve the feed intake, and we'll talk about that one next. Another slide showing the effect of season on milk components. So you can expect that in the summer month, as I showed in the last slide, in the summer month, because of the high heat stress, you can expect low milk fat content here. Even fat to protein ratio comes down. You can expect that your somatic cells may go up also in the summer months. But when there is no heat stress, you have a higher milk fat, higher fat to protein ratio, and also low somatic cell counts because cows are not stressed and under stress, and feed intake is high. How does stage of lactation affects the milk components? This is very natural graph of lactose, fat, and protein throughout the lactation for almost about 50 weeks. What it is showing is that milk components, they change with the stage of lactation. There's a very small change in lactose you can expect, and I'm talking about the lactose content of the milk. In the early lactation, you can expect higher milk fat and protein. Then it starts dropping because milk yield goes up, and then keep dropping. And then in the later part of the lactation, almost about 35 weeks, it starts rising up during the late lactation. So fat and protein are high in early and late lactation. Very small little variation in lactose content. So these are very natural. You should expect that. So if you have a cows that are, most of the cows are in late lactation, then you will have low milk fat content. Okay, so you will be paid less. So therefore, the strategy should be to have the herd that has some cows fresh, some cows are in early lactation, and some cows are in late lactation. That way you can keep your milk fat content pretty much same throughout the year. How does cow's age affect the milk components? Dr. Dinesh Bhosale was talking about this, how much is decreased per lactation. Milk fat content, as the cows grow older, you can expect 0.02% unit decrease in milk fat content. So if you have a cow that's in 5/5 lactation, you can expect about milk fat going down by about 0.1 percentage units in the older cows. Same thing for milk protein. There's a big range here. You can expect a drop in the 5th lactation for about 0.1 to 0.25. Okay. So the bottom line is milk fat and protein content decreases with as the cows grow older. So younger cows will have more milk fat and protein content. How does disease affect the milk composition? Mainly we talk about mastitis. Okay, so I have here measurements or components in the milk. This is a normal milk, and this is a high cell count milk, means these cows are experiencing some signs of mastitis. Okay, so mastitic milk and normal milk, different components. These are the concentrations, and then percent of normal, meaning that in mastitis cow, how much percent of that normal one. For example, in total solids, we have 13.1% total solids in a normal milk. When the cows had mastitis, it dropped down to 12%, which was 92% of the normal. So what happens is total solids, lactose, and fat, they drop in mastitic milk, ranging from 85 to 92%. The chloride content of this milk increases pretty high, 160%. Total protein does not change. However, the fractions of protein, such as casein and whey protein, the casein protein drops and the whey protein, which is a watery portion, increases. So the fractions of protein changes. Okay. So mastitis can cause decrease in milk solid, not fat, lactose, and changes milk protein fractions and increases the chloride content of the milk. So you have to be aware of when you have mastitis, you can affect the milk components. Next one, how does affects mastitis the milk yield? In the milk yield, I have here liters per day and days in milk. So it says 2 months data. Normal cow, green line is a normal cow milk. Once she has a mastitis, she will drop in milk yield, and then you give a treatment, she recovers. But at the end of 2 months, she will never come close to the normal cow. So there is a loss. Once they become sick, then they don't recover 100%. They may recover about 80%. So there is a loss. Majority of the mastitis costs or the loss are in terms of milk that you lose. Okay, and then milk that you have to discard because you cannot. You're giving antibiotic treatment, so you cannot give that milk back in the system. Okay, so 80% of the total cost of mastitis is in terms of this production loss, and also the milk that you have to discard. Okay, so mastitis is expensive, and it costs to the farmers. So avoid it. Okay. How does milking procedure and the equipment that you use can affect the milk components? Number one, these milk components, they differ between milkings, and I'll show you some of the data in the next slide. If the cows are milked exactly at 12 hours interval, then you will see a less difference in milk components. Another thing you have to remember is last milk from the udder has higher fat content. So if you don't properly milk that cow, you're gonna miss the higher milk fat content and your milk will be paid less. Additionally, if you don't use proper vacuum, whatever is subscribed by the manufacturer, even then that can lower your milk fat. So even milking procedures and the equipment can change the milk components. You have to be very, very careful. You must have seen at home when people milk cows, at the end they use a little higher force so that they can get the last milk from those cows. And that will maintain the milk fat content. Okay, how does variation in milk components by milking? Okay. I have fat and protein percent here. So fat percent, protein percent, and this line is for the milk yield. The milk components and yield was measured for 5 days. This is your AM, PM, AM, PM, AM milk, PM milk. Okay. The milk yield stayed same for all 5 days. However, if you look at the milk fat percent or content, the AM milk had higher, PM milk had the lower milk fat content. Higher in AM, lower in PM, higher in AM, the higher in case of AM and lower in the PM. However, in case of protein, it's reverse. AM milk had lower milk protein content, PM milk had the higher milk protein content. So if you do not mix AM and PM milk according to the milk yield and then do the analysis, you may have some erroneous results. Or if you are not combining both of them, then you maybe have less or higher milk fat and protein content. So as long as farmer is aware of this, that there is a difference in AM, PM milking, then it can be managed easily. In this case, the milking was 2x, means twice a day, AM and PM. If you do a 3-time milking, then the difference between AM, PM will be reduced. It won't be as big a difference, okay? And because we are not exactly milking these cows at 12 hours intervals. If we do it, then the difference will be less too. Okay. So before you take a sample, you need to composite milk from AM and PM according to the milk yield and then test it. Next, feeding total mixed ration. How can it affect the milk components? Dr. Dinesh Bhosale has already alluded that total mixed ration is very important. What's total mixed ration? Total mixed ration is a well-mixed basic ration that has forages, grains, vitamins, and minerals, all like a khichdi. Okay, I call it as a khichdi type. So there's a very little variation in composition, and this will help farmer to prevent sorting at the manger. You must have seen when you feed the cows, immediately cow will come and it will dig a hole, and she's trying to sort it out the grain from here. But since it's very well mixed, it's very difficult for her to sort. Okay, if it's not well mixed, she can sort. So she will dig a hole here, try to do that, but at the end she has to eat the whole bite. Okay, and then it will provide the balanced ration because it has all the nutrients that are required. And when you feed this TMR, you're going to see less fluctuations in rumen pH. When you have less fluctuations in rumen pH, meaning it's a stable, favorable environment for the rumen microorganism to grow. You want them to grow. More they grow, more they digest the feed. Okay, more they digest the feed, they pass down the lower digestive tract, and they provide more nutrition. By feeding total mixed ration, each bite contains the same composition and same nutritional value. Okay, and also feeding total mixed ration saves you the labor, because otherwise you will feed forages and grains separate, and cow is not happy, rumen microbes are not happy, there are more fluctuations in the rumen pH, and then the microbes are not efficiently working there. Okay. So if you feed TMR, I can guarantee you that you can increase the milk yield by about 10% and also and maximize the milk components. But guarantee 10% increase in milk yield compared to feeding forages and grains separate. Okay. This slide is very crowded, but I'm going to explain you in a way that you will understand it. And the reason why I'm showing this one is in India, we have a practice that we feed grain to the milking cow, just thinking that we are rewarding her for giving us a milk, but it doesn't help the rumen of a cow. I'm going to show you how. In this one slides, I have a feed intake, kilos diameter intake per day. And the data is for 11 days. What these researchers did is at the day 3, they started giving them wheat and barley mix. And they kept increasing until the wheat and barley was over 40% of their diet. As they increased the wheat and barley, the feed intake dropped very quickly from 3rd day to 7th day, and to the 8th day, they have a maximum drop. Whereas the cows that were fed total mixed ration, their feed intake was pretty much same with very little variation. So this is their feed intake. They also looked at the fecal pH. As they added more mix, it dropped the fecal pH also. Okay, then they stopped it, and fecal pH went up. So even fecal pH was also low in these cows. Not only this, the milk fat stayed pretty much same with the cows that were fed total mixed ration, but the cows that were fed wheat and barley, they dropped almost 30% in the milk fat content. The only thing increased was lactate because of the fermentation from wheat and barley. Lactate content went up in the rumen because you exceeded the environment where there was not, the lactate utilizers could not do that. So the lactate content went high. In normal situation, if there is some small extra grain, the lactate utilizers, they will use the lactate, but when there is excess, then you see a high lactate in the rumen. So why I'm showing this slide is that when you feed TMR, at the same time, some people reward cow by feeding grain, meals. So all what you are doing is you are imbalancing the total mixed ration. Okay, when you imbalance total mixed ration, there is no fun of making total mixed ration because it's already imbalanced, and that can affect cows negatively. So I'm going to request all the practical people to educate that slug feeding of grain is not good. That's basically imbalancing the total mixed ration. So feed TMR and that's enough. Another thing is how feeding frequency can affect the milk components and milk yield. Feeding frequency maximizes yield of milk and milk components. In these slides, I have a green line where cows were fed 4 times a day. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That means cows were fed more frequently. In the blue line, the cows were fed only twice a day. In the morning and in the afternoon, twice a day, meaning cows were fed less frequently. This is a data for rumen pH. In 4 times feeding, you see a less fluctuation in rumen pH. Whereas in twice a day, you see a dip in the pH after feeding, and then it comes back again, and then drops back again after feeding, comes back again. Now, if you consider that pH 6 is optimum for the microbes, then you see there's quite a bit time in twice feeding where you see a lower pH, which is not good for the cows. It's subclinical acidosis, basically. Whereas feeding 4 times, most of the time, the rumen pH stayed close to the optimum rumen pH. So what I'm trying to say here is that more often you feed, it will help to increase the milk yield as well as maximize the milk components. So feeding more times on the farm will help you. Okay, not only feeding frequently, but also Dr. Dinesh Bhosale was talking about pushing feeds. In the Western countries, we have an automatic robot that goes automatically and keep pushing the feed towards the cows. Okay, so cows may be fed twice a day, but feed is in front of the cows, and then this mover, it pushes very regularly. So this is going to move all the way to the alley. They also use sometimes a small tractor to push the feed more often, or they can do it manually also. In India, I think manually we can do it easily, push feed more often towards the cows. There is a direct relationship between fat-corrected milk yield and meal frequency, like how often cows eat. With the increasing meal frequency, you see a higher milk yield. This is another way to improve the feed intake. Somebody was asking question that how do we, in early lactation, how do we increase the feed intake of early lactation cows? And these are some of the techniques: feeding TMR more frequently, pushing feed, that can increase your feed intake and ultimately the milk yield of the cows. So pushing feed more often towards the cows result in more milk and milk component. Use this practice on the farm. Okay, feeding supplemental fat. As the milk yield goes up, the supplemental fat is becoming a common thing to add. What can you expect from supplemental fat? If you are using, first thing is you should use oil seeds, meals, and vegetable fats to supplement to the cows. If you supplement proper fat, you can increase the milk yield by about half a kilo, from quarter of a kilo to half a kilo per day through supplemental fat. You can also increase the milk fat content by about 0.1 percentage unit. If you are not using the proper fat, if you're feeding, let's say, vegetable oil, you may experience a drop in milk protein content from 0.1 to 0.2 percentage units. So if you're using vegetable fats, they are unsaturated oils, then use a very limited quantity, not the excess quantity. When you say limited quantity, maybe 100 grams per cow per day. More than that is not good for milk protein content. Okay. I was talking to you about how sometime the supplemental fat can drop the milk fat content also. And this is how it happened. This is a new theory now. It's coming up with the human biohydrogenation. So there are two major fatty acids. One is linolenic acid and one is linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is rich in, let's say, oil seeds. Take an example of soybeans will have linoleic acid, a larger proportion. Linolenic, it comes from grasses also. When it enters into the rumen through grasses, oil seeds, or maybe supplemental oils, it goes through a regular process of biohydrogenation, meaning that at the end, it produces a saturated fatty acid called stearic acid. Now, stearic acid is not very toxic, but the large amount of these unsaturated fatty acids, they can harm human microorganisms. Okay, they can inhibit their growth also. So when you feed these fatty acids in excess, for example, cows go into the pasture in the spring. They eat a lot of green grass or the fresh grass to the cows, and it has more linolenic acid. So higher unsaturated fatty acid in the rumen, it goes through an alternate fermentation pattern. Instead of a regular pattern, it takes another route and makes trans 10 cis-12 CLA, and then it makes finally trans 10 C18-1 fatty acid. And this particular fatty acid is responsible for dropping the milk fat content. Okay, so if the cows are getting a fresh grass in the springtime and you're having a low milk fat content, this is the reason why you are experiencing low milk fat in the springtime. If you're feeding dry forages, you will not experience this. If you feed too much oils, sometimes there's a practice in the farm in India that they drench some oils to the cows. Okay. If it is too much for the rumen, then it will drop your milk fat because of this formation of trans 10 cis 12 cis 18 1 fatty acids, because it inhibits the de novo synthesis of fat in the mammary gland. Okay, I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay, so that's about the fat. How we can meet the protein requirements of the mammary gland so that we have maximum protein, yield, and concentration, and have higher milk yield also. The protein requirements can be met through two sources. One is through microbial protein synthesis. Another one is, we call it as a rumen undegraded protein or bypass protein, is same thing. So you can maximize the protein supply to the mammary gland if you can maximize microprotein and bypass protein. How do we maximize microprotein synthesis? Once again, same basic principles. Feed balanced diets, feed total mixed ration, feed more frequently, no slug grain feeding, feed cows adequately, because if you do not feed adequate. Another thing I want to emphasize here is that we don't have a practice to calculate how much cows are eating. Okay, we just throw in front of her, and then if she eats, if she leaves, and we think that her stomach is full. That's not how it happens in the Western countries. They will measure how much they have dropped, feed into their bunk, and after 24 hours, they will go back and then measure what is left over. And the leftover has to be at least about 2% of what they offered yesterday. If it is less than that, next day they will feed more to that cow. They will keep increasing until cow leaves about 2% of the feed on the bunk. That's how we know that cows have eaten to her appetite. It's just like human beings. We sit on the table, and then somebody comes and says, "Oh, you want another chapati? You want another chapati? Another chapati?" Then the guy says, "No, I'm done." Okay. So instead of, if chapatis are all on the dining table, and I will eat to my appetite, and there is still one chapati left, that means I ate to my appetite. That's how cows has to be treated. Okay. Then we know that they have eaten to their appetite. Okay. Another thing is avoid sorting of feed. I've seen on some of the farms, there is always leftover from the larger particles. The cows just leave because they don't like it to eat it. Okay. If you are seeing that, that means cows are sorting out the forage and grain, or your forage is not chopped properly. Okay. Also, additionally, avoid drenching oils. That's not healthy for cows. So if you could use all these techniques, then you can maximize the microprotein synthesis and microprotein supply to the dairy cows. Rumen undegraded protein, bypass protein. We have to meet the requirement of bypass protein. So you use the meals, protein sources that can supply the bypass protein. How you can do it? First of all, feed some quality protein. Okay. Quality of protein is determined through amino acid composition. You have to match different protein sources. Example, the soybeans are rich in lysine, and corn or maize is rich in methionine. So the combination of soya bean meal and the maize is very nice because they match with each other. They provide lysine and methionine. These two amino acids are the first limiting amino acid for milk yield and milk protein for lactating cows. Okay, so you have to mix and match. Okay, always use at least about 2 to 3 protein sources so that they bring different amino acid composition. That's how we meet the bypass requirement of the dairy cows. Maximum you supply to the mammary gland, you're going to have optimum amount of milk components and optimum yield, maximum yield, I should say. Another thing you could do is when you have high grain diets, high producing cows, you're going to experience a drop in rumen pH. Once again, this period, the pH is low for rumen microorganisms. So you can add any type of the buffer. You can have a simple buffer or a complex buffer. All buffer going to raise the rumen pH during this crucial period. If you have a higher rumen pH, then it's good for the rumen microorganisms to grow. You want these, this is an army of microorganisms that will digest your feed. So buffers, feeding buffers do help in bringing a rumen favorable environment for the microorganisms, and that in turns will lead to the maximum milk yield and milk components. That's another thing you could do it from the farm. Okay. Another example here, how feeding buffer can affect the milk yield and components. Control cows and cows were fed sodium bicarbonate, fat corrected milk. In the control, it was 13.8. However, when we fed the buffer, we got 14.5 kilos more milk, the milk of these cows. So milk yield increased. You see a small increase in milk protein content also, and then rumen pH improved from 6.3 to 6.5. Same thing for the total BFA concentration improved by feeding sodium bicarbonate, which means the cows are, these are, the cows are fermenting feed in the rumen and digesting it. However, I'm going to caution this. I put a note here, buffers are primarily recommended for diets when depression of milk fat is expected. Because we have a trend in India that every feed should have some buffer, okay? Because the feed miller doesn't know how you are feeding, how much you are, how much feed you are feeding to the cow, and so they add indiscriminately the buffer into the feed, okay? But use buffers only when you are expecting the milk fat depression. You should try your best to balance the diet in such a way that you don't need buffer for that. Okay. In some situation with high producing cows and high grain diets, you may need a buffer for sure, and that will help. Okay. To summarize this, how to improve milk and milk components on the farm. First of all, select a cow that is suitable for your farm, okay? Suitable for your strategy. Like, what do you want? Do you want more milk? Do you want more yield of fat? Or do you want only fat and protein? Accordingly, select an animal suitable to your environment. Means that, you know, Jersey cows, they are good for the hilly areas. They may not do very well in the hot weather of Maharashtra, let's say. Okay. So suitable cow for the environment. Number two, breeding strategies. Always have breeding strategies that will have economic impact on your farm, that will bring more money to you. Number three, always avoid mastitis conditions. Mastitis are very expensive. That's the most expensive disease we have it. You can do a number of things on the farm. That's a very separate topic here, but you can do on the farm a number of practices that will avoid the mastitis conditions. Always feed balanced diets, okay? And balanced diets you can achieve is, first of all, formulate, and then feed as a total mixed ration. That will help. As I said, avoid slug feeding of grain. It does not help the cow, okay? We think that we are rewarding the cows for giving us milk, but it's hurting the cow. Feed cows more frequently, okay? Also, you can push feed more frequently. In the summertime, you can feed early in the morning and then late in the evening, okay? Because then the environment temperature is slightly low and it will help with the feed intake of the cows. Avoid feeding excess unsaturated oils. You cannot just keep drenching oil and thinking that it's helping. It may hurt the rumen. Meet protein requirement of the cow through bypass protein and maximize the microprotein synthesis. And lastly, feed additives like buffers, yeast, they all help with the digestion process, increasing the microbes, increasing the feed intake, whatever additives you think is good for your farm. Always calculate the cost, because your final point is how much money you made in the year. So before adding all these additives, you have to calculate the cost and the benefits. Once again, meet the requirements of microbes and cows both. Only then you can maximize the milk yield and milk components. Good. I think that's my last slide that I have for you guys. Thank you very much for the privilege of your time. And then if there are some few questions, I will try to answer that.
Yes, sure, sir. I request my colleague, Dr. Atul Dhuk, sir, to conduct the question answer session. Dhuk, sir, please. Dhuk, sir, are you there? Okay, no problem. I think, sir, the presentation has been very, very exhaustive and very, very informative. So questions are there in the chat box. Which size of dairy animal, heavy or lighter size, will give better feed efficiency in terms of dry matter required per unit milk produced due to variation in body maintenance requirement due to body size difference?
Really very good question. I think you have to look at the total amount of total kilos of fat, protein produced on the farm. Okay, so let's say, take an example of Jersey versus Holstein. Jersey may be about 500 kilo cow or 550. You have Holstein of 700 kilos. You need to calculate the feed efficiency. This is a new concept in the United States. They are calculating the feed efficiency, like how much milk is produced per kilo dry matter intake. because those are the two costs, feed cost and milk will bring you the more income. So that is a comparison between income and cost. So always calculate the feed efficiency, and accordingly, then you keep the cow. Even within the same herd, let's say you have 100 cows, you may want to calculate for every cow, what's the feed efficiency. However, to do that, you do need a feed intake numbers. Again, what Dr. Dinesh Bhosale emphasized, record keeping. Okay. In the United States, there's a record for everything. So they analyze it, and you don't want to keep a cow that's one cow is feed efficiency is 1.5 kilos milk per kilo dry matter intake. Another cow is, let's say, 1.8. So that's less profitable. You can develop your the breeding strategy also based on your feed efficiency. So I was giving you an example of Jersey cow and the Holstein cows. And Jerseys, they are small, so their maintenance is small also. They will produce less manure also. So you have to calculate whole, and then even on the farm, they will require more space also. So calculate feed efficiency, then calculate the cost of maintenance cost of animals, and then decide.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, there is one question
Uh-huh.
regarding how to increase the SNF in the milk.
Okay, solid not fat. Solid not fat, you want to increase the milk protein content because the lactose content doesn't vary very much, and also the minerals. So focus on increasing the milk protein content. How can you do that? Meeting the protein requirement of the cows, not to feeding unsaturated fatty acid that will drop the milk protein content. So if you could maximize the protein content, and if the lactose stays constant, your solid not fat content will be high. You can also feed some of the easily digestible carbohydrate. Give you an example of bakery waste. It has very highly digestible carbohydrate. You can feed that one and increase the milk protein content. Okay. So maximize protein content, that will maximize the solid not fat.
Sir, one more question. Can we experience variation in milk composition due to mash feed and the pelleted feed?
Mash feed and pelleted feed. As long as there is no sorting. If there is a sorting, let's say you are feeding pelleted feed and cow is able to sort out, then you can see the variation. But if it's a total mixed ration cow, it's very hard for the cow to sort out the pellets, then you may not see a difference between mash and pellet. So the key is avoid sorting, feed in total mixed ration, and that will avoid the variation.
Okay, sir. Sir, one question is there. What is the probable reason in the variation of morning and evening milking?
Okay, the morning and evening milking is just basically the milking interval. So if the fat is higher in the morning milking, that means we got a little extra time to have digestion and synthesis of fat. But if you keep an interval of 12 hours exactly, then your variation between AM and PM will be reduced dramatically.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for your very nice and practical presentation. You have emphasized all the components about the milk scenario in India as well as in other countries, right from the selling price and the retail price and how to tackle those prices also you have suggested. And you have also emphasized how to change the composition, what are the factors affecting, like seasons, even intervals, even the frequency of feeding. And you have also suggested the remedies for that, like TMR feeding, even simply pushing of feed to the animal can also have the better milk composition. So very excellent and practical presentation, sir. We are extremely thankful. I now hand over the further proceedings to Dr. Deshpande. Dr. Deshpande.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and money. Bye-bye.
For nice presentation. Sir, we request you that if any other material you want to share, you please mail me. I will share it with the participants regarding this topic.
Sure. I think I have given you the summary.
Yes, sir.
And I am thinking to write up a paper about this and send it to a livestock production magazine. So this will be published in about a month or 2 months in the livestock production technology also.
Sure, sir. So thank you very much, sir, for the time, and thank you very much for all this nice informative lecture. So we'll be in touch, sir. And for participants, for this session, it is going to complete for today. Any other questions, queries are there, you may please mail me on my email ID, which has been given in the slide. Apart from this, tomorrow we'll be having 2 more presentations sharply at 4 o'clock. So please try to join before 4 o'clock, that is from 3:45 itself, so that the presenter will not have to wait for the participants to join. And tomorrow the presentations will be there from Dr. M.S. Mahesh on the role of amino acids in dairy animal nutrition. And apart from that, a very interesting presentation will be there from Dr. Dayaram Suryavanshi. So that will be the importance of metabolic profile test in dairy animals and how practically we can understand from the metabolic profile test conducting uh, about how to change the regime and understand other things. So for now, this session has been completed, and we'll meet tomorrow sharply at 3:45. So thank you. Good night. Have a nice time. Thank you.